Alright, guys. Part 7 of the Q&A, and yes, I know I'm reusing images, but I don't care. I don't really think anyone bothers to look at the images during Q&A, so I just figured, hey, I'll just follow Tori GNR's lead. And...
No, you wouldn't, no. The images help. You wouldn't believe how many people just sit there and say, ooh, colors.
Alright, so, we're moving on now to Stings009, and he asks, first question is, what would happen if Altair had to track down the Dark Ace? Since you don't know who that character is, that's from Stormhawks. I don't know, I mean, if Altair had to track down Dark Ace, he'd better be prepared for a fight, because he's a great swordsman, and he carries energy weapons.
Yeah.
2, what would happen... Okay, this one you could probably help out. What would happen if the Brood had been placed in the world of Inuyasha?
Okay, what was the question?
What would happen if the Brood had landed in the world of Inuyasha?
The Brood?
Yeah, the X-Men alien. Remember those aliens I told you about that, they're based off the Xenomorphs?
Yep.
They're X-Men enemies. I personally would think that'd be very cool to see, because I think it'd be funny, first off, to think Inuyasha, they're like space demons to him.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see how they'd fight. I mean, when a Brood assimilates somebody, like, they take over their body, they take their power, so could you imagine a Brood alien with Sesshomaru and Naraku's powers? I don't want to think that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's absorbing hundreds of thousands of the lesser demons.
Yeah. What would happen okay, your third question is, what would happen if Arrow from Stormhawks had met Dante from Devil May Cry and the Darkness?
He would die.
Well, not only that, if it was a team-up, he wouldn't be willing to work with them. Arrow's a very clean, like one of the Shining Knights. He's kind of like a lot like a young Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
So, I don't think he'd work with Dante or the Darkness. If he had to work with him, he'd be like, I'm not working with you people, I'll do it myself. Or get my team, I'm not working with you two. Your next question is... Okay, this one I find really interesting. What would happen if the Riddler became a new enemy for Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 survivors? That's interesting because that'd be like a cool little level, like the Riddler survived a zombie apocalypse and he's living in Gotham. The Left 4 Dead survivors end up in what's left of Gotham, and they get trapped by the Riddler, and he sets them in this little maze full of zombies and traps.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Next question is, what would be your first response if Isaac Clarke teamed up with the Stormhawks for a mission to fight a whole new breed of aliens? I guess you're assuming... I guess you're talking about the aliens from, like, the marker, the red marker. It'd be interesting. I mean, I've always thought it'd be cool to see Dead Space Stormhawks crossover, just to see how these... Remember, guys, they're kids, so they're about 14 to 16-year-olds just seeing these nightmarish monsters.
Yeah.
So I guess, unless you're talking about the Xenomorphs, so, I don't know. Sixth question. What would happen if Green Lantern had switched places with Alucard? Meaning if Alucard got... Huh?
What's the question?
What would happen if Hal Jordan switched places with Alucard from Hellsing?
Hal Jordan would die at the hands of a bunch of Nazis, maybe? Or at least have a hard time against them.
Yeah. And I can't see really Alucard being chosen by the Ring.
No.
If anything, a Sinestro Corps ring would probably choose him.
That's fitting the best. Here's another Black Lantern.
Yeah. 7. What would you want to see in an Incredibles 2 movie? And would you want to see Marvel characters? I would love to see an Incredibles 2 movie. I've been begging for that. Why a Cars 2 movie when you can do an Incredibles 2 movie picks up...
Incredibles 2 was good.
Yeah.
Oh, Incredibles 1 was good, I would say.
Yeah. It's not only a good animated movie, it's a good superhero movie.
If I wanted to see more of an Incredibles 2 movie, I would want to see more of the other side heroes get... I would want to see the other side heroes get more action, and I would like to see a more serious villain.
Yeah. And as much as I like the idea of Marvel superheroes, but maybe just keep it in its own universe, that'd be nice. But it would be cool to see, since Marvel owns DC... I mean, Disney owns Marvel. It'd be cool to see, like, little hints and... like, similar costumes hung up, like a Spider-Man costume or something in the background.
Yeah. Little cameos.
Yeah. 8th question. Would a Lilo and Stitch Darkness crossover be unique and cool? I don't know. You're blunt, aren't you? I'd definitely say unique, but that's just like putting peanut. Like one person, as my dad once said, it's like putting sushi with ice cream. Two good separate tastes, but not together.
Wait, what was ice cream?
Sushi and ice cream.
Yeah,
No, I mean no offense, Stings, but I just can't see that happening. And the same for okay. Your next one is and the same for Danny Phantom Zetchbell. Well, I only watched a total about 5 episodes of Zatch Bell, but it'd be interesting to see Danny and the Moto Kings and all that. And I can't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, they kind of ended the seasons pretty early.
Yeah.
On Zatch Bell.
Next question is, what would be your opinion? Tongue tied there. Be on a Nightmare on Elm Street Predator crossover in both the film and comic. I don't know if that's possible. Predator and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do Predators dream?
I don't know. It'd be interesting, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
10th question. What would happen if the Authority had met the Stormhawks and they had to fight the Akatsuki? From Naruto. I'd definitely say the Stormhawks would not want to work with the Authority after seeing what they do to the Akatsuki.
Yeah.
I mean, the Authority, I hate to sound like a fanboy, but Warren Ellis made some godlike characters. You can't beat around the bush about that. Yeah, I mean, Apollo, Midnighter, these are some really, total overpowered characters, but he makes them cool for some reason. Unlike, where some overpowered characters, they just look really dumb, the Sentry. But these are, really cool characters, and they really cold stone killers. So the Stormhawks would definitely be like, we're not even gonna fight you, we're gone. I mean, that's probably how I see it. 11. What would happen if Isaac Clarke had gotten the power of the Mask?
You mean the comedy movie Mask?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, who's Isaac Clarke?
From Dead Space.
Ah.
I can't believe you forgot that. I can't believe you forgot that.
I haven't played Dead Space in a while.
Oh.
First of all, he'd have survived through sheer laughter.
Alright. 12. What would happen if the Batman family had all gotten inspirational superpowers and abilities based on anime characters, such as Batman becoming a Super Saiyan? That's just what we need. Just when we talked about Batman being overrated, that happens.
I know what would happen. Lawsuits.
But actually, it'd be really cool. Batman with Big O.
Yes.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne
Batman
with the...
Big O crossover, considering how close him and Steve Smith,
Roger Smith. Roger Smith.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be a crossover. It's like, what if they got their abilities or weapons? Definitely not Superman, Batman with Big O.
I think Batman could pop at Big O.
Yeah. Your last few questions are, in connection to question 9, segment 2, what would happen if Isaac Clarke had to battle Jigsaw and Jason from Jason X? I can't really see Jigsaw, but Isaac fighting Jason X would be awesome.
It would.
Like,
that makes more sense.
Yeah. Jason, I actually like Jason X because it was just so stupid it was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, Isaac Clarke versus Jason X, that's more likely to happen than Isaac Clarke versus Jigsaw.
Yeah. In an official animated movie crossover would be cool. Dead Space versus Jason versus Dead Space.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you for the question, Stings. Next, we're going to move on to the Spawn 117. He asks, 3 questions. What's your favorite lantern? Is it the red or green or yellow? I like the Red Lanterns. Everyone loves green, but outside of the Green Lantern Corps, the Red Lanterns. They're just, they're the definition of lantern badass.
Me too.
Yeah. What's your favorite Corps?
The red one.
Yeah. Okay. 2. What's your favorite Predator in the genre of games, comics, and movies? The comic book Predators are just off the chain awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean, they're ripping people's heads off with their bare hands. They're gutting people in...
The games and movies have really doubled their powers down. Well, what they can do now, anyway.
Yeah. And your third question is, what if the Space Marines from Warhammer crossover with Clone Troopers and the UNSC Marines and the Gears? That's an all-out war right there.
It is. It's kind of like it'd be kind of like if you threw the Flood, Zerg, and aliens in one universe.
Exactly. So thank you for those questions. Next up is Serpentine541. He asks, what is your favorite Almagran character? I really dug Darkclaw, the Batman and Wolverine fusion. That was my personal favorite. I also dug the JLX, the Justice League and X-Men together, and I also dug Generation Hex, the Generation X Jonah Hex fusion. What did you like?
Okay, what was the question?
The Almagran universe, where Marvel and DC fused together.
I never got to read any of those.
Well, I know you told me you read Iron Lantern.
Oh, I saw a little snippet of it.
Oh, okay. Your next question is, do you think Marvel and DC should revisit the Almagram universe? Maybe. I mean, they brought out new characters and new powers. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, maybe do different combinations than from the first time.
Yeah. And your final question is, who do you think would win in a non-powered foot race in the Flash family? As much as I like Barry, Wally West probably.
Yeah.
So, that's all I got to say about that, but thank you for the questions, Serpentine. We're going to move on now to Custom Fig, who also asked 3 questions. Wolverine's claws or Ripclaw's claw? Which one is sharper? That's hard to determine, because Ripclaw from Cyberforce has these really unbreakable really hard claws, but we haven't really seen a lot. Well, actually, no. Though that's a really hard question. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to say draw on that.
I'm gonna go for Wolverine.
Yeah. 2. How can Wolverine turn into a zombie? I thought he can't turn into a zombie. His body was resistant to disease and infection. Well, well, when it comes to supernatural, I guess they kind of explained this because he also turned into a vampire. Apparently, supernatural diseases infect him as well. Supernatural infections, his healing factor can't, heal from. So I guess you can't really bypass that. But it was also the zombie infection was also a totally different universe. So it was a totally different Wolverine. So
Right.
the rules didn't really apply. So thank you for the question.
He's referring to the Marvel zombies?
Yeah. And your third question is it true that all superheroes can fly with capes can fly? Batman can't fly. He's got a cape.
Yeah, he has a little jetpack.
Yeah, but it's not really like officially flying.
Yeah, it's more like gliding.
Yeah. Who else can? Apollo from the Authority doesn't have a cape and he can fly. There's just a few.
Yeah.
So thank you for the questions, Custom Fig. I hope I said your name at the beginning of the Q&A, but those are your questions, Custom Fig. Okay, we got one more question from Mystery997. This ought to be quick. He actually asks, would Brad Dourif work as a voice actor for the Joker? That was the voice of Chucky from Child's Play. Yeah, he could actually work, but I still say John DiMaggio. He did his voice in Batman Under the Red Hood, but he had actually, the more I think about, I actually thought about that question when I read it yesterday, and I say, hell yeah, man, he could definitely work.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'd just love to see Joker. I really like to think that laugh, the Chucky laugh, could work for the Joker. But thank you for the questions, and next part of the Q&A. Later.
Later.